Let's talk about Antarctica. It's got to be the coldest, the most remote, and honestly, the least understood place on Earth. I mean, we're talking about a frozen continent that's twice the size of Australia, holding 90% of the entire world's ice. It's just staggering. But the real story, the one that's full of mysteries, well, that's buried deep beneath all that white.
Right, this is the big one, isn't it? What is really going on under 2 miles of solid ice? For most of human history, it was just a giant blank on the map, a total unknown. But now, with modern technology, we can finally start to peek beneath that frozen veil. And what we're finding, well, let's just say it's sparking some pretty intense debates.
So, here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at the really bizarre shapes satellites are spotting from space. Then, we'll dial the clock way back to a time when Antarctica was actually green. After that, we're diving headfirst into some wild conspiracies from the modern era. And finally, we'll look at what our future might hold as all that ice starts to disappear.
Okay, let's kick things off with anomalies that are so weird they feel like they're pulled straight out of science fiction. The amazing thing is that today anyone can go online and scan this forbidden continent, and the things people are finding are just, well, they're baffling.
This is the one that really set the internet on fire. I mean, look at it. It's a mountain peak, sure, but it has these 4 incredibly sharp, almost perfectly symmetrical sides. It looks so much like the pyramids at Giza, but it's sitting in the middle of one of the most isolated mountain ranges on the entire planet.
So what are we looking at here? On one side, you've got people arguing that nature just doesn't create geometry this perfect. To them, it has to be a monument, a remnant of some forgotten civilization. But on the other hand, geologists say, hold on, we have a name for this. It's called a nunatak. It's basically a rocky peak sticking up through the ice that's been carved by millions of years of wind and glacial movement, kind of like the famous Matterhorn in the Alps.
And the pyramid isn't the only strange thing out there, not by a long shot. People have found what looks like a massive, clean-cut doorway in a cliff, a formation that looks just like a giant staircase, this huge oval shape in the snow that looks for all the world like a buried saucer, and even a face that looks like an ancient statue. So, are these just tricks of light and shadow, or are we looking at clues to something much, much bigger?
Now stick with me because all these strange shapes on the surface get a whole lot more interesting when you find out what Antarctica used to be. And here's a spoiler, it wasn't always a frozen wasteland.
It's almost impossible to wrap your head around this transformation. 100 million years ago, Antarctica was a temperate rainforest. I'm serious. Scientists have found fossilized trees and ancient pollen that prove it had warm weather and lush forests. Then, around 14 million years ago, a deep freeze set in, and that entire green world was slowly buried and entombed in ice.
And this, of course, brings us to the biggest what-if question of all. According to mainstream science, modern humans have only been around for about 300,000 years, long after Antarctica froze over. But what if our timelines are wrong? What if someone or something was there before?
Now, check this out. This is one of the most compelling and controversial pieces of evidence out there. It's a map, drawn way back in 1513 by an admiral named Piri Reis. And the mind-blowing part is that it seems to show the coastline of Antarctica with stunning accuracy, but a coastline with no ice on it, a view that's been hidden for thousands of years. So how could he possibly have known what it looked like?
Well, the debate here is fierce. You've got theorists like Charles Hapgood, who argued that Piri Reis must have copied his map from much, much older sources made by an advanced, ancient seafaring civilization. The mainstream view, though, is that it's not the real Antarctica at all. They say it depicts Terra Australis, which was a mythical southern land that old-time geographers just assumed had to exist to balance out the globe.
This brings us into the modern age, and this is where the mystery really takes a sharp turn into military secrets and global conspiracies. Because if some ancient civilization with advanced knowledge did exist, it makes you wonder, what if someone in the 20th century went looking for it?
So, picture this. It's 1938. Right on the brink of World War II, and Nazi Germany launches this huge expedition to Antarctica. The official story they gave was all business. They needed whale oil, they wanted to test military gear in extreme cold, and they planted a flag to claim a piece of the continent, which they called New Swabia.
But let's be real. Given everything we know about the Third Reich and its obsession with ancient myths and secret superweapons, does securing whaling grounds really sound like the whole story? Many people believe that was just the cover story. So what was the real mission?
And this is where the story goes completely off the rails. After the war, theories started flying that the Nazis had built a secret hideout, Base 211, deep beneath the ice. The legend says it's where top officials escaped using submarines after Germany fell, and that they kept working on advanced tech like flying saucers and this mysterious anti-gravity weapon called Die Glocke.
Which brings us to Operation High Jump. Just 1 year after the war ended, the United States launched a massive military operation to Antarctica. I'm talking a full naval task force, an aircraft carrier, destroyers, submarines, and almost 5,000 troops. That is an incredible amount of force for a scientific expedition.
The official line was that it was for training and mapping, but the timing, the sheer military power, it just felt off. The conspiracy theory, of course, is that High Jump's real mission was to find and wipe out that secret Nazi base. And here's the kicker. The operation was supposed to last for months, but it was cut short. They came home early after suffering some mysterious, unexplained losses.
And then you had this absolutely chilling quote from the guy who led the operation, Admiral Byrd. He reportedly told a newspaper on his way home that the U.S. needed to be ready for an attack by aircraft that could fly from pole to pole with incredible speed. I mean, what could he possibly have seen down there to make him say that? It's been fueling speculation for decades.
All right, let's bring this whole story into the present day. How is this continent, a place supposedly packed with secrets, governed today? And what's the one mystery that's no longer just a theory, but a terrifying reality unfolding right now?
So, in 1959, the world's major powers all signed the Antarctic Treaty. It basically says the continent is a zone for peace and science. No military activity, no weapons. It sounds great. But to a theorist, every single rule looks like part of a cover-up. Banning the military? That keeps snooping armies out. Strict access control? That keeps the public away. It's viewed by some as the ultimate global non-disclosure agreement.
But while we sit here debating what might be hidden under the ice, there's a much more urgent drama happening right on top of it. And the biggest secret Antarctica holds today might not be about our past, but about our collective future.
And this is the number that really matters. Over the last 50 years, parts of Antarctica have warmed by 3 degrees Celsius. That makes it one of the fastest warming places on the entire planet. The continent is, without a doubt, thawing.
And the consequences are just staggering. If just the west Antarctic ice sheet melts, global sea levels could rise by more than 3 meters. That's about 10 feet, which would swamp coastal cities all over the world. We're seeing ancient landscapes emerge for the first time in eons. The entire ecosystem is at risk. Yeah, Antarctica could become green again, but the price the rest of the world would pay would be absolutely catastrophic. So that leaves us with this one final, thought-provoking question. As the ice melts, is it finally going to reveal its ancient secrets? Will we find pyramids and evidence of lost civilizations? Or is it just going to reveal a future of our own making, a future that we are dangerously unprepared to face? Either way you look at it, the truth is coming to the surface.